the Stinky Popcorn Boys.
We watch movies and eat popcorn. And you're stinky.
Hello. We are the Stinky Popcorn Boys, just some boys talking about movies and how they made us feel. I am Patrick Baskell, and I am a microwave meal left in the microwave too long, so you have to microwave it again, and it gets kind of dry and like a little bit wet.
Ooh, gross.
Yeah.
I'm John Gilardi, and I'm a big boy.
You sure are, bud.
I know.
You sure are, bud.
None of these really give any indication to what we're watching.
So, I mean, you've already clicked on the link.
Yeah,
you know what it
true.
is. But what are we? Today we are going to be watching, or talking about watching, and then watching the background as we're talking about it. The sequel that spawned a sequel, then spawned a VOD movie franchise that people maybe don't know exists.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then gave us, I would say, one of the biggest action stars of the modern era.
Yeah.
This
so is this where The Rock started?
I mean, it's essentially kicked off
It's the first place I saw him.
I remember this being a big deal when it's like, oh, The Rock is gonna play the Scorpion King. So today we're gonna talk about the Mummy and how he returns in The Mummy Returns,
But not the Scorpion King.
but not the Scorpion King. Maybe we'll talk about the Scorpion King later.
Yeah.
On a separate, whole different Scorpion King franchise.
Yeah, I'm definitely down to go deep into this this world.
But yeah, I think that this was, I don't know, maybe let me pull up the Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson's IMDb. Tell us about The Mummy Returns. Give us a little synopsis while I'm...
If you've seen the first Mummy, then you saw this. Pretty
shit.
much it hits all the same beats. It even has like the pilot friend, and it has... You know, he has an Imhotep, and his lost love still is the storyline and the goal in this. It's kind of more of the same. It's fine, but there's nothing new here except for that they have a kid. Evie and Rick O'Connor have a kid, and so there's that. And then there's also some like kind of comic book-esque level subplot with Evie being Nefertiti or
great stuff.
Is it Nefertiti?
Not Nefertiti. Like near. It's like something that's close enough.
Yeah,
it's
reincarnated.
Like near Fertiti or something.
Yeah, so Evie is actually a reincarnate of an Egyptian princess. which I remember watching this, and you know, I when I said I'm a big boy, I was alluding to the fact that watching this movie for me was like I think it was one of the first PG-13 movies I had watched. And so, for me, I think I'd seen other PG-13 movies, but this one I thought was scary. Like, the mummies scared me. Yeah. And so I had to really ease myself into watching the scene with the mummies. Like, the monkeys scared me, and the London scene, and I was a wuss. So for me...
Hey, be kind to young John.
Yeah. So for me, this was a film that I guess has a significant place in my movie viewing history. I forgot why I brought that up. What was my lead in?
But because of how, honestly, I don't know. You were talking about what it was? Well, like your intro? Or you were talking...
Just before that.
Or you were talking about... you said you remember watching it because of Evie being the
Yes.
reincarnated.
So, like, again, I watched this a ton as a kid. Like, I found this movie. I thought it was so brave for watching. I watched it a bunch because I thought it was cool. I loved battle scenes as a kid in movies. I whacked off to those. I used to like watch them all the times. Like Lord of the Rings, I used to watch those on repeat in the last third acts all the time.
That's reasonable.
I probably would have done the same if I was a kid when Rogue One came out. But,
okay, yeah.
But with that said, as a kid, the whole Evie storyline just kind of fit that like play pretend with your action figures storyline you make up as a kid.
Yeah.
But watching it as an adult, it's a really dumb storyline and really dumb. And there's too much going on. Like Rick O'Connor is like an actual Medjai.
Yeah,
somehow.
Where the fuck did that come from?
Like, it's really weird.
But he's also not a believer. Like, he got the tattoo and was like, I don't believe this. This is just some tattoo I picked up.
Yeah. It just has a
And also, that didn't play in the first movie. Like, that was the thing to me, that this whole movie was like, this movie definitely seems like, it definitely hits all those things where it's like, this is a sequel of a movie. Like, in a way where Pirates of the Caribbean, they were like, yo, Pirates of the Caribbean was super successful. Do another one.
Yeah.
And they were like, do another one? What are you doing? Yeah, do like 2 more.
Yeah.
Do like a trilogy.
No, do another one.
And they're like, wait, what?
Yeah.
And so whenever they I think there's a pretty famous thing where they were like looking up. They were like, Calypso, because like when they were brought on to like write the second and third movies, they were like, what the fuck, we're not prepared for this. So they were like, they rewatched the first Pirates of the Caribbean to be like, all right, this could be something we could connect to.
Oh my God.
This could be something we could connect to. And so they were bringing up a bunch of stuff like that.
Yeah, definitely.
But this movie doesn't feel like that, even though it's the same writer-director, Stephen Sommers, who also wrote G.I. Joe, Rise of Cobra. But it's like, this movie is like, all right, we've got Rick O'Connell and Evie O'Connell now, and
Alex O'Connell.
And we're just going to kind of like start over new with them a little bit. Like they became much more caricatures of themselves, and then like all of a sudden you're like, oh, by the way, Evie was connected to the thing the whole time, and she was the daughter of the pharaoh during Imhotep's time, and it's like, get out of here.
We get a replay of the flashback that the first movie introed on,
and then
where Evie actually watched it happen and called the Magi in.
Yeah, she's the one.
Kind of, it wasn't a time travel, but it's like that effect. Like you can see how the pieces played together in the past.
And then like there's like a almost completely like he's like takes off his band, his like leather bracer or something like that, and someone's like, oh, you have the Magi, and it's like, no, this is just that tattoo that I have, you fucking idiot.
Yeah, but then later it goes on where the lead Magi dude's like, wait a minute, she's Princess Reincarnate. You guys are meant to be. This is all a purpose, and your son, he saw the thing. It's like the son only saw the vision or whatever because he stole the bracelet and got the vision that way. So it's cool. It's still dumb, but if they're gonna explain it, why are they bringing the son's explanation in that weak ass way? Like go for it. At that point, if you're really doing it. Unless
it was like whenever they were doing I imagine. And because I would also, if I was Rachel Weisz, and I was like, yeah, they're like, hey, we're gonna make another one. Will you please come back to do the second one? And she's like, yeah, but I gotta fucking kick some ass in this one. I ain't fucking running away no more. I gotta fight people. And they're like, huh?
Yeah, when she started sword fighting, I was like, there's a world and there's movies where the characters are just skilled at swords and guns or whatever.
Yeah.
And they explain it in this movie because she's reincarnate of someone who has these skills, but I don't know. Even though it gets explained, that moment was like tarnishes the vibe. Like I'm already like, oh no, what?
And I'm not one to.
I mean, Keira Knightley even has that. Like she becomes like. What indication is that she's like, I don't know. You have Arya. Arya's running around practicing with swords.
But
you
she's
see
practicing.
It. Yeah. With Keira Knightley, like. Sure, she is a tomboy or like fighter spirit or whatever, but that doesn't mean she's gonna like the force is gonna awaken in her and she's gonna be ready to go.
There's time that she could pick up some stuff in between.
Yeah, no,
the second and third movie.
I haven't seen the movies in 5-7 years.
I recently rewatched the shit out of them. But there's some time in between the second and third movies where it's like she could learn some stuff. She could pick up some stuff, and it's also like. In the beginning of the third movie, she overcompensates, by having a lot of weapons because she's maybe not skilled with them. So she has a lot of like guns and stuff. So yes, I'm like,
yeah, I mean,
that makes sense to me.
Wrong.
But also, yeah, how dare you get off? But because I don't know, they just show it better because she's still pretty like in the second movie. She's still pretty like. I'm a damsel in distress. Here I am. That's my Keira Knightley.
Yeah.
Oh yes, no, you've got to stick your bottom lip out.
Yep.
Yes. But in the third movie, they're like, yeah, she's trying. She's trying to do some stuff.
Okay.
You're gonna buy it later whenever she does sword fighting. Okay. You're gonna buy it later, and you're gonna shut up about it.
Yeah. All right. Well.
So shut up about it, John.
Well, that vibe.
No. Yeah. It's just not even about her like fighting and stuff. Just I
think it loses its pulpiness with the hero. Like, there's definitely tons of pulp in this.
Yeah.
But the hero don't feel as pulpy.
Well, because the connection to like the larger story kind of takes away that thing where it's just like, hey, it's just this, American guy who's like been dropped in the middle of this and kind of like a here we go again vibe.
Yeah.
And then like the same thing with Evie where she just likes reading books and digging stuff up.
Yeah.
And she just happens to do the thing, but instead
it like recontextual, like it retcons them as
and it's like
as like Egyptian superheroes.
And also it's also like a little bit whitewashy, I'd say, to make her. Again, that's a long time ago. There you can there could be some dilution, and like stuff travels in places. That's very possible, but it feels like there's enough time that it's like, yeah, okay, that's fine, but it's also like in a movie about Egypt and stuff. And again, I'm saying this in 2020 and not 2001.
Yeah.
But in a movie about Egypt and pharaohs and mummies and stuff, having the lily white British lady be the linchpin of the pharaoh's daughter thing, it's like, all right.
She is half Egyptian. Her dad or her mom is fully Egyptian.
Get out of you know what?
That's established in the first one.
Okay.
Whether Rachel Weisz is half Egyptian.
Yeah,
is the question.
Well, we run into a larger thing there.
Yeah,
about, like,
with Imhotep.
Yeah,
I wonder if there is any Egyptians.
But you could. Well, again, we're going back far in history.
Yeah,
where it's like,
the Mediterranean was a melting pot at the time.
It was a melting pot, and also the Greeks and the Romans both took over Egypt. Like Egypt stayed around and doing stuff, but like we don't hear about it a lot because we've Westernified our history a little bit, but it's like they stayed around and doing stuff, not quite at the height of their power during their like dynastic phase.
Yeah,
but they were still kicking it and being like pretty like being a power when Rome and Greek were doing their stuff.
Well, I know they supplied Rome with its food essentially.
Yeah, I
think it was kind of a vassal of Rome. Rome had its foot on it, but it also had control over Rome.
Yeah,
because it controlled their food supply, but. I don't know. Egypt's crazy. And
I would like to. I would like to hear more about it.
There's those the History of Us, America, like History Channel specials, which are cool and interesting and well shot and done for a TV special. I want to see that of the history of Egypt or the history of Greece, something like that, where the Greece we have today. How does that relate to the Greece of yesterday and all that? Because that'd be cool.
That'd be interesting.
I mean, I'd like
especially
to see
because
that
those places are so old.
Yeah, exactly.
That it's like, I mean, you could almost say that the Greece, like the Greek, like Sparta,
city states, all those.
Yeah, Sparta, Athens. You would say that their history is probably more connected to the history of like Rome.
Yeah.
And like to like Italy, and then like. You could say that the Italian history and like that is more connected to like England. So it's like you could draw a line where those things are.
Then the Viking connection.
Yeah, and then like
even Istanbul, Constantinople, Turkey, the Byzantine Empire, which for some reason we're not taught this well, but the Byzantine Empire is a fragment of the Roman Empire.
Yeah,
which lasted until 1500s, which is insane. Like, obviously, the Western Roman Empire fell, but like Rome still existed up until 500 years ago.
Listen, then we go, because
that's crazy.
Because then like Rome became the Papal States, and that was like its own thing where it's like that became.
When does that end? Yeah.
Well,
when does the image of Rome end?
Yeah. I would say post the image of Rome as Rome.
Like 400. AD, I think, is around.
Yeah, I think 449. I want to say is when it was like, hey, this the Roman Empire, the Western Roman Empire is done.
Yeah,
but then you have like various things where Rome was still like a place because it was still a place, and they were like, hey, we're just gonna sack it. It's still Rome. There's still a bunch of shit here, And then I would say it became kind of the seat of power because it was supposedly like this Christian like a holy site.
Yeah,
or the they made it a holy site with the Vatican and whatnot, becoming more, because that's the other thing where it's like the Catholic Church became more of like its own country.
Yeah.
And
I think a lot of people that consider that to be the fall of the Roman Empire, not so much the fall of the society, but the
when
change
it
of it.
split up.
Yeah.
When like, and you forget that
Well,
Venice
wasn't the Byzantine Empire? They were Catholic, right? Or not Catholic, but Christian, or maybe it was Catholic.
They had their own stuff. That was
Okay.
like Justinian, I think. It started. I don't know, man. It gets kind of
It's turned to an ancient history.
Because once they split, once the empires split, stuff gets kind of wibbly wobbly between them. Because I feel like Justinian established. Anyway, hold on. I'm not.
You should just watch Da Vinci Code and use that movie as the transition.
That explains it all. But I guess the point is that Egypt is fucking cool and we don't know enough about it.
Yeah.
And
I want to learn more about it. I mean, there's stuff out there like that's on me, but I think.
But I also feel like it's underrepresented in media.
Yeah.
You know, there's not enough. I don't think that there's enough fucking cool.
I mean, we're in the golden age of television, and we have. I mean, I'd say the same for Rome, too. I mean, even the Rome show was one of the best, one of the best rated shows of all time, and only lasted 2 seasons due to just misunderstanding of how much people liked it.
Yeah.
And I would love to see a HBO or Netflix or some kind of long form or miniseries or whatever of Egypt. Because even the tastes you get in this, I love the flashbacks. I love seeing ancient civilizations realized because the more things change, the more they stay the same. And I love to see and I love to learn about ancient civilizations and how similar they are to us and the things they've implemented and they used that we either got from them or that they introduced and they kept. I don't know. Like,
and I think
there was there were shopping malls in Rome and office spaces and apartments. Like, duh. But like, it's just like when you realize they had those things, it's super cool. And that was years ago. And
it's also just interesting too, if you like, again, just looking at Rome, is like the way that they approach, because again, there's like separate things, but like the way that they did bathhouses and like the way that they did their sort of sanitation system, again, was, predicated by the time, but it was also like, that's just a different idea. Like if you were to like introduce some of the ideas of how they did public spaces and how they did like some things, like even the gladiator stuff.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, that's just sports.
Us putting those through our modern lens.
Yeah.
And like they're all monsters, they're all terrible people. And it's like, no, like human life meant less.
Yeah.
Lived
less, died more, died easier.
And you could, and it's very much like they are the same, but also very alien to us. And I think that's an interesting thing where it's like, hey, this is how they interpreted this thing, this is how they moved with this. And I think what I had a thought there is like, perhaps one of the reasons that we don't see enough or see as much like Egyptian sort of things is that we don't know enough about it. But I also feel like they left us so many artifacts that I'm gonna go ahead like. And
it's well preserved too because of sand. And the fact that they made tombs with stories of people's lives.
And where it was too is like that. Just like the lack of like moisture in the air didn't degrade stuff as well as it did in some of the other places where it's like, some of the stuff in the more northern regions is like it just got eaten by the world.
Yeah.
And I was watching a documentary that was like talking about, we have this idea that cavemen ate like all this meat and stuff, and they only ate meat and they hunted all the time. And it's like, well, that's because those are the fossils, like the stone tools and stuff like that for like killing and ripping. Yeah. Those are the things that last. Mm-hmm. And so like you can't see the other stuff, but a lot of the evidence that they've seen is like, hey, people ate a lot more plants and shit.
Yeah.
Because that's what was always available.
Yeah, I mean, I, even if it wasn't like farming, they were probably grabbing what was available.
Yeah.
I mean, even like think of I don't know, actual hunter animals. Like they get a kill and they live off of that for whatever amount of time.
Fucking wolves.
They're not like going out for their daily hunt and eating. And even I bet humans could be more likely to do that than a lot of animals, but still.
But our like smart thing is being able to preserve stuff. So we kill a woolly mammoth, and then we're able to preserve it because we put it in cold fire. We put it in cold box, and we figure out how to put salt on it and stuff, and it's great. I also love.
Let's get back to the movie.
yeah. But that was one of the things is that I feel like they were like, all right, the only way we can make this movie, the only way we could sustain this sort of thing, because it's essentially just the same movie. Yeah. The only way is to go deeper into like the lore. Yeah. And it felt like they didn't want to. They were like, we don't really want to go that far into like Egypt stuff because, I think the first movie came out in 1999. This movie came out in 2001. That's not enough time to properly learn all this stuff about Egypt or whatever. I mean, you could bring somebody in or whatever, but it's like we gotta get this movie going. Yeah, we gotta get this movie out there.
I think the first one captured that Hollywood pulp, like kind of golden era feeling rather. Mm-hmm. And
I think this movie captured the feeling of early 2000s sequel.
Yeah.
Of that, or even like
a
reboot
of it, but I mean, I honestly like this movie is special to me for the reason it made me feel like a brave movie watcher, and it empowered me to watch other things. And with whatever, I'm being slightly facetious and building myself up, but like to me, this movie.
Hey, you're a big boy, bud.
Yeah, to me, this movie is like important to me or whatever, I guess, and in my story of watching movies or whatever, and because even with that. A lot of the nostalgia didn't hold up, I guess. Yeah. I definitely had tons of nostalgia and remembered the moments super well. But there was, also I was like, oh, they had a kid? I forgot about that. Yeah. But then I remembered the kid because I remember the scene with the bathroom. And I remember as a kid, that impacted me because I'm like, that is so gross. I would never poop ever. I would never use the bathroom. I would hold it in indefinitely because I would never, ever go to that bathroom because that's so gross.
Yeah. Like that is a pretty gross bathroom.
Yeah.
It looked like people just like, wipe their hands with wipe their butt with their hands and then wiped it on the wall. Ugh. Which is like
I think that's something that happens.
Yikes. I remember when I was in Thailand and there's a bucket with a stick in it.
Oof, and that was it?
Yeah. I also might be making that up because now I'm thinking about Rome because that's
what they have in Rome. I know that.
Yeah. I think I'm making that up. But there was a bucket in water. Okay. We went to the King's Garden, the King and Queen's Garden, and there was like a little outhouse with the bathroom with a toilet there, and then usually they have like a bidet thing or something, but they just had a big 5-gallon paint bucket full of water. Instead of toilet paper.
Maybe it's for washing your hands.
Yeah. Except they had a sink there too, bud.
Well, there's a episode of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure when they go to India, and one of the guys I think it's Polnareff. I forgot his name already. Polnareff. Something like that. He has to go to the bathroom, and he sits down, and he's like, "What the fuck?" And he jumps up, and there's a pig like licking his ass, licking his ass, it's sticking out.
Oh my gosh!
For some reason, I'm just making sure going to.
This movie
places with the toilets, I guess.
This movie gives me Indiana Jones and the Crystal Kingdom vibe, or the Crystal Skull vibes.
Yeah, like you always think, the first two are good. It's the third one, of the Mummy movies, and it's like this is pretty good.
It's fine,
but it's not.
It didn't hold up the way that I thought it did. And I remember watching the first one, being like, hell yeah, okay, I can't wait to watch the second one. Yeah, and then watching the second one and being like, ah, man, huh. We're taking some swings here.
Yeah, I liked this film so much, and I liked it so much as a kid, and I think this is a good movie for 10 to 15-year-old boys. Yeah, and girls maybe. I don't know. I'm only relating to myself, because I had cool wolf warriors. Yeah, had cool battle scenes. had some like horror elements, so I could feel like a cool guy watching it, thinking I was tough or whatever.
Well, and there's also the kid there that you can relate to.
Yeah, there's a kid character. Exactly, that's huge. And I think this movie is good if you're that age.
I think this movie is the least kind to Evie as far as like the change in her character.
Yeah,
because I don't know. Like in the first movie, she's like kind of the smart one. She's doing all the stuff.
She's too cool in this.
But in this movie, yeah, and I think too one of the things that sort of bothered me was like sort of it was like they were like the chemistry that Rick and her had in the first movie. It feels like they were like, let's really fucking dig into that.
Yeah.
And it doesn't work as well. Like they still have chemistry because they're playing, but I don't think that
they're a lot more. It's a lot more steamy.
Yeah, but it's also feels like fake steamy.
Yeah.
Like,
well, yeah.
I don't know. It's weird because it doesn't feel like it feels honest to Rick's character, but it doesn't feel like the way. It doesn't feel like the way that Evie would.
No, because she was a dork. And
she was a dork, but also
charming.
And she also has this kid. She has this kid, and she's. I don't know. She doesn't feel very like.
Well, also like her smartness. Like she knew Egyptian history. She was a fucking all-star at that. And she was able to use her knowledge and research and cunning to figure out things. But in this, it's explained away by she's reincarnate and she's seen these things before.
Yeah.
And it's as simple as her just like knowing it because she's seen it before. So it completely gets rid of her biggest strength is that she's like a bookworm or whatever. Just charming dork. And in this, she's just kind of a badass know-it-all, not the sense of like a know-it-all, but like nothing like the information doesn't come easy, or doesn't come hard. Like she just has it.
Yeah, it doesn't. It kind of takes away a lot of the work that she put in the first movie to be as smart as she was.
Yeah.
Where it's like in this movie, she's like, oh, she's got it. So here, she's great. Just shut up about it, okay?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I also just feel like they didn't later when the kid Alex can inexplicably speak or read ancient Egyptian.
Yeah.
Sort of. They don't like, they're like, oh yeah, mom taught it to me. And it's like, I feel like I want to see that because that's fine. I'm not going to like, fuck it, whatever. Yeah, he can speak ancient Egyptian. That's dope.
I think if they wanted the reincarnate thing, maybe make the kid it because of some weird moment they had in the last movie.
Yeah, that would make more sense.
They gave birth to this kid who was reincarnate of something.
Of like King Tut or something.
Yeah,
or someone better even.
And that would have given...
I just know King Tut offhand because...
Tutankhamun or whatever? Tutankhamun?
Tutankhamun? That's probably wrong. Oh, and I did look it up from the last time we talked about the mummy. It wasn't Set. It was Osiris. So the Osiris...
The penis thing?
Yeah. So he was there, and then his brother murdered him and dismembered him into 14 different pieces and scattered across the country. His wife, Isis, who was also his sister, nice, cool guy stuff.
That's what they did.
Retrieved all the pieces except his penis, as it was eaten by the fish in the Nile.
Oh man!
But then Isis made him a phallus on his resurrected body that worked good enough to conceive Horus, the falcon.
Sick.
Yeah. So
there's a horse in this.
Yeah. Well, he's a falcon-headed god. So
yeah.
Boom. There you go. But it was Osiris, who had his penis thrown into the Nile and eaten by fish.
Nice.
There you go.
What a dick move. Yeah, I played. This is for those nerds and air quotes out there. I just hate using nerds as like, I don't know. It's a weird word these days.
Yeah.
Because
it's lost meaning because it used to be like an insult.
Yeah. And I don't mean it. I mean, it's like it's a deep reference. I'm pre-contextualizing this too much, but I played Age of Mythology, and one of the through lines, a whole thing of you're going through all the different mythological places, Norse and Egyptian and Roman and Greek or whatever. And you're just trying to find pieces of Set, or is it Set or Iris?
Well, Osiris.
Yeah. So that was my introduction to it. Was playing an RTS with with an army of minotaurs and scarab warriors chasing down.
What does RTS mean?
Real-time strategy. So it's like the most famous one is Age of Empires.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're watching the movie again in the background as we do, and this is Evie's she's been doing her cool guy fight scene out of nowhere. It's awesome. It's fine. I'm really glad that she got to do this stuff. But it doesn't connect up with her character in the previous story, and blah, blah, blah. We already said all this. But I love, so there's like the big main bad guy, or the big main henchman bad guy.
Let's say henchman. A lieutenant.
Yeah, he's like the captain of the guard or whatever. But he's just standing there. He's just standing there watching all of his dudes get decimated.
Yeah.
And like he's testing the Magi guy. And so all of his guys are dying.
He's just okay
and he's
with
just
it.
watching it, and he's like, when will it be my turn? Soon will it be my turn. Once all of my men are dead. It's like, no, as a lieutenant guy,
Help out.
You want to make sure that the most amount of your guys are alive.
He's bad. He's a bad leader.
Yeah.
He lets the kid get away multiple times.
He does.
Like there's not a lot of accountability. Like Imhotep has actually some pretty good patience.
He does.
Because my fear as a surrogate viewer watching it is like, oh no, I would not want to fuck up, and I don't want that guy mad at me.
Yeah,
I feel like he doesn't have any patience, but it's never shown. Like this lieutenant lets the kid go away. You don't see any repercussions of that. You don't need to. I don't want to see that. But it's just.
Well,
I don't know.
There's no fear.
I guess it does. I guess you lose that fear of Imhotep.
Yeah.
And I guess I'll skip to the end.
There's one part though where the kid's running away, and Imhotep they're shooting at him or something.
Yeah, and he stops
Imhotep
him.
stop. He picks the guys up with the air, and he flings them into pillars, and he's like, I did that, and it's like, what did you do though? You didn't.
Yeah. Also, why didn't you do that when you're fighting Rick or the Scorpion King?
Also, well, they took his powers away.
Oh.
There was a thing there where it's like, I guess they want to. Anubis wants me to fight him without my powers.
Oh, okay.
Like when he walks into the chamber, that happens.
I might have missed that.
How dare you?
I was working, and naturally, whenever there's Egyptian, or Arabic being spoken, I'll try to look, but I'll miss something. I'm a human.
Hey, I forgive you.
Thanks. But jumping away all to the beginning, just because it came to my brain, and we can jump back. But the moment that the smile he gives to Rick and Evie, when he sees love, and he's like, okay, that's tight.
I think that's the best moment of the whole movie. Whenever his
girl
leaves him, and it's like, oh wow, okay, yeah, and then we have that moment where he's like, actually, maybe I deserve to die.
Yeah.
Maybe because that's just like he's like,
And the last thing he sees is something nice, I guess.
Yeah.
And he's kind of like, whatever. Like all this was kind of for her, and that bitch just left me.
Yeah. So I would say watch the first movie, skip to we'll find the time code of that bit, and then just watch that little bit too because it's a nice little cap to Imhotep's story.
Yeah.
And everything else in the second movie is kind of like if you want to see some kind of CG spectacle, fine, yeah.
There's some fun big battles, like the Anubis battle stuff is fun.
I will say
the Magi, which I don't
think you see enough of it.
Yeah, I don't think you see enough of it, and I'm serious. Like, there's been a serious lack of big pitched battle scenes in movies lately.
Yeah. Well, I think. Hey, have you watched The King, the Timothée Chalamet?
No, it's a Netflix movie, right?
Yeah,
I have it on my watch list.
There's a couple good ones in that, and that was a pretty fun movie.
I mean, and Game of Thrones has had them, but there's no military strategy or substance to what they're doing.
It's just slash.
Well,
bash.
I can go. I mean, I brought this up, so it's.
Let's go into it, dude.
But the Battle of Winterfell's stupid.
Oh man,
they used light cavalry as shock cavalry and a full frontal assault
at night,
which is stupid. You use light cavalry as like a harassment kind of thing on the flanks, and then also a huge wave of dead bodies are coming. You don't have any kind of they set their spikes, their pits and their spikes and all that stuff behind their front line.
Mm-hmm.
Put that in front of your spears. Why do you need Why are you even creating choke points for your forces to fall back? And why are you sallying forth, putting people out in front of the castle? Like, look at Helm's. Like, I love the Lord of the Rings battle scenes because they're real and they're good, and there's some actual strategy and thought to tactics and not even tactics, just basic shit.
And that's what I'll say too about both of these movies is like our two battle scenes that are big battle scenes. Well, the two battle scenes in this movie is in the beginning, where we have the Scorpion King leading his charge or whatever.
Yeah,
and I love that they show him and he's like, "Yeah, we're running in, we're doing so great." And he's like, "And he lost."
Yeah,
and he just
such a hard pivot. It's like 7 years later.
And the best thing, and I feel like the best thing is like, "And he lost," and then it's just the Scorpion. They're like he lost to whoever he was fighting, and they're like, which is also maybe I don't remember, maybe isn't clear.
He's just trying to take over the known
He's
world.
Just trying to take over. Great stuff, cool guy stuff, but the Scorpion King and all of his forces, they're just like, "Hey, get out of here! You walk away, and that's it. Get out."
I mean,
and they just walk away, and the Scorpion King looks back, and he's got the like, "Oh, I've been chastised."
Well, the thing is, they make him so shitty that he gets his own movie.
Yeah.
And the whole time you watch this movie, you just know that this dude's whole existence.
He loses.
Yeah, he loses, and then he comes back as a scorpion monster and dies then too. So it's just like whatever. Like,
well, and that's it's like.
So it makes it like obviously the Rock's charm maybe that's where people realize like shit, he's really charming and I like this character. I guess even though I know he kind of is lame just from seeing The Mummy Returns and how nothing really whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, but that's what I was talking about with the battles was like they just kind of like we're gonna run at you.
That's fine. That's way better than Game of Thrones trying to make up their own rules of tactics.
Yeah. They really wanted it to be something, but they
wanted to tell story beats through the fighting itself.
Well, listen,
so they wanted
we could talk about the whole how they punted on that, where they just like, hey, we're just gonna shorten all this stuff and like we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna skip to the moments. We're gonna skip to the moments that we know that you want.
Yeah.
Instead of giving you any sort of like.
And
that's the fucking reason we watched, guy.
Yeah.
Because it's like the scheme again. It's like a bad D&D game where it's like, all right, we're gonna skip to the thing, we're gonna skip to where you fight the guy, and it's like, no, how we get to the guy could be fun.
Yeah.
How we get to the thing.
Well, I mean, how that on Game of Thrones, talking about that particular, like the opening of that episode is awesome.
Yeah.
It's like I think it's the first cold open in the series. And it's just Tyrion or someone walking through, and it's like there's no soundtrack, and it's just people getting ready for the battle. But then also, the episode before that was one of the best episodes, too, because it was just them hanging out talking.
Yeah.
Like,
getting ready.
We're going to die tomorrow kind of stuff.
And that was good. I liked that. Was it the first?
First three episodes. The first episode.
The first episode.
First two episodes and the 10 to 15 minutes of episode 3, actually, of the last season were really good.
Really good really good. Listen,
the second episode was really good. The first was pretty good.
I don't remember it. It's been a long time. It'll be a long time before I revisit any of those. I'll wait until my kids, the kids that I have, they're like, oh my god, Game of Thrones.
Part of me wants to rewatch at least season 1 through 4.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's what I did after they finished.
Yeah.
I rewatched it up until I think I probably just rewatched the whole thing.
Yeah.
But man, it was really good in the beginning.
Yeah. That's why Rome's so.
Not like
like if you have that Game of Thrones itch, and I think I might have said this before when I was watching it, but obviously you can't get that anymore with Game of Thrones or it petered out.
Yeah.
Go watch Rome because there's 2 full seasons of good scheming stuff there.
I don't know if I'm ready for that. I still got to rewatch Breaking Bad. Yeah. I haven't touched Breaking Bad since it naturally ended.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I have either.
And I feel like I keep seeing stuff of that where it feels like it's calling to me. Unlike The Mummy Returns is not calling to me. You look at that. Great pivot. Good transition.
Yeah. Well, I think just the fact that we're having a hard time staying focused on this that
Well-
might say something.
Yeah.
But I mean, I could go on and on about this movie. And,
I also think it's like, did the effects get worse?
No, I think they're better than the last one.
Okay. I think the Mummy is more consistent than the last one.
Yeah, but you see less of them. There's less special, elongated special effects sequences. I feel like the Mummy, Medjai, or whatever dudes. I remember seeing them a lot, extended amounts of times, and you see the 4 here, but it's like a little chase sequence in the dark, and then there's the monkeys.
Mm-hmm. Well, and
but
there's
it's all very shrouded.
But it's also like they really did.
I mean, you have the water in this, but in the last one you had the sand. So it's
the
like
sand is the same thing.
They're just and even the columns falling down in the tomb was a pretty much recreated shot of the bookcases falling down in the first film.
Yeah.
And at first, because the movie was just at the beginning, I was like, oh, fun little homage, like mother like son or whatever.
Yeah. Cool guy, fun stuff.
But then the whole movie is the same thing.
Yeah.
And then I mean, Jonathan isn't bad because John Hannah plays the character really well, but he feels so underwhelming and underused in this one even.
Well, but then he has his like almost sort of undeserved hero moment. It's not undeserved. It's not. It just feels like we're building to it, and we're building to it to him be like a big coward.
Yeah.
And then we don't really have enough. Like it feels like he pulls his weight.
Yeah.
You know, and then they're like, "Hey, don't fuck this up," and they do like a big hero shot whenever he does a thing. It's like, yeah, okay. I mean,
I don't know if I need him to be a fuck up or.
I don't think he is.
Yeah.
Like he makes interesting decisions, but they're the right decision, you know, and he makes them work. I think that I think that they tried to play into like the goofiness of it, and I don't think that it played the way that it should have.
Yeah. I think he, like as a casting choice as a World War I PTSD kind of.
Well, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if that's confirmed in that. I think that they
even though once you said that, like that makes so much sense, and like the fact that like he can just be given that rifle.
Yeah.
Which was a SMLE British Enfield, which was the service rifle that he had, and that if he was a veteran, and which is what he had. And like that whole headcanon at least like made that like, okay, cool. Like
nice. Okay, yeah.
Like, they know he's good. He knows he's good with it. And
he's got confidence with this thing.
Yeah, because if I had watched this and just thought he was the goofy drunk brother, I'd be like, why is he good with the rifle?
Yeah.
Is it just like because he goes on his little fox hunts all the time, like rich British dude stuff? But no, it's like, oh, he's a
also
World
the house that they got, bro.
I know.
The house that they got, Lara Croft's house too.
Yeah.
It looked like the same house.
It's nice.
But
it looks like a museum.
It did look like a museum. Well, I guess the thing that I'd say is, was this movie fun?
I think it's fun, but I don't think it's as fun as I remembered.
Yeah.
And it's not as fun as the first one. Even the bus scene with the main like they brought back the big scary zombies, and this was their time in the movie.
Yeah.
Or mummies, not zombies. And this was their time in the movie, and it's so underwhelming, and it's shot so weird. Like, yes, it's at night, but with the 4 zombies, only 4. I mean, God, I keep saying zombies. With the 4 mummies, only 4 of them going through the empty British streets with like one extra every now and then in the background. It just feels so empty and weird.
Yeah.
Like it makes it feel small. And obviously, this movie doesn't have a budget problem, and obviously, it's probably at 3 a.m. when no one's actually out. But the effect is just like super barren and small.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, we have 2 extras and we have an extra car.
Yeah.
Let's like sprinkle them in where we can to add some depth and liveliness here, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know how to fix it.
Especially because this
but
feels like
weird.
kind of like a bigger thoroughfare.
Yeah.
And
yeah, I mean, cities never sleep to some extent.
Yeah, especially a big city that's like London.
Yeah.
You know, I guess
it's not a big deal, but to me it just felt off. It felt like these are our heroes, and they're the only. This is the center of the world revolves around them, I guess.
Yeah. Which I guess is pulpy, maybe. Yeah, I think that my sort of like verdict on this is like, if you are itching to feel like watching The Mummy, and
just be prepared.
Just watch The Mummy again.
Yeah.
I would say, like, just watch The Mummy again, and or if you're like, oh man, I want to feel that same way, but I just watched The Mummy 2 weeks ago. Maybe
just temper your expectations.
Yeah, just be like.
And this is not coming. This is coming from someone who, if you listen to the last episode, I was talking about how much, blah blah blah. Mummy 1, it's good, but I just know I love Mummy 2.
Yeah,
because that was my movie. I watched it all the time. I thought it was really cool. All this. No,
this was my jam.
After watching it, I'm like, oh, the first one is better.
Maybe Mummy 1 is my jam.
Yeah.
Maybe not Mummy 2.
I will say, in terms of something I really liked, in terms of hitting that golden era Hollywood feel, the soundstage forest was really fun.
Yeah.
Like a really fun feeling thing. Like just super fucking flat with like dirt thrown on the ground and a bunch of bushes and stuff. And then I don't know if you watch or not watch, but if you notice, it's really charming. With the sword fight with the Magi and the lieutenant in the background, because they have the foreground, they have the two guys fighting, and then they have a layer of bushes, and then they have the enemy red shirts kind of fighting the monkeys. And if you pay attention to them, they're just kind of like just jostling side to side, doing nothing.
I appreciate that. I appreciate a good like extra filling space.
Well, if you watch the action, it's
unnoticeable.
It's unnoticeable. The fact that they're there, like all the subconscious stuff, it works, and there's no other better way to do it. But if you ever watch like battle scenes in movies, just watch how haphazard the extras are kind of slinging at each other, or that they're doing the same thing. And even when it's animated little people in a big battle, it's the same thing.
Well, and that's the thing that's fun to me is like you see in the big battle scenes where you've got your picture people, so you have like the stuff, and then you could see in the background as they've CG replicated it.
Yeah,
it's like, oh, that one's that inverted, that one's like like it's like, they're like. That's one of the reasons where it's like, yeah, all of their regiments are the same size because that's the amount of people that we had. Yep. And also, it's just like, hey, thank you so much, Roman legions, for having people the same size and like having it all be the same and wearing uniforms so we can just plop, plop, plop.
Yep.
Good stuff. Yeah, I think it was fun. I would say...
I don't say don't watch it.
Yeah,
I'm not recommending it. I just say...
I would say watch The Mummy first.
Yeah.
I would say watch The Mummy first, which you probably will. But I think that you also maybe need to, like, readjust and maybe go outside of your comfort zone. If you're like, I really need to watch The Mummy Returns, watch it.
Yeah. But
if you're like, maybe, but I think maybe try something that could have a similar feel or vibe. Or honestly... maybe watch Alien, just because it's like that's got that sort of that scratches that same like, oh, we're digging into this like lore mythology in a place and a thing that like, okay, that it hits kind of the same scratches that same itch for me.
So I got a question for you.
Give it to me.
So what we have in the background, there's a scene where the kid gets kidnapped and is getting pulled away in a car, and Rick O'Connor is trying to run down a car and a suspension bridge that's going up, and he tries to jump the gap. If your kid was kidnapped, would you go into Mama Bear mode and just, even despite the odds, do that? Like, is that something you would do, or is that cinematic? Like, I don't know. I was trying to think, like, oh, man, if my kid got kidnapped, I'd move heaven and hell to get him back, but also would I...
It's not efficient, as what you're saying.
I don't know. I mean, I think I would run after, and then when the bridge would go up, I'd be like, all right, I'm turning around and going as fast as I can that way to be faster and efficient, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is that there's still a lot of city out there.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you can see where they turn or something.
Yeah.
But, I mean, also, but...
I don't know. I don't know what. Fuck, man. I hope I'm never in that position where my
kid gets kidnapped.
My kid gets kidnapped, and I'm by a secret order who loves a mummy, holding a grudge against me. But we'll. Fuck. I mean, I guess I probably would. But I'd be like, get the car, find a car. We gotta get a car, and then figure something out. But I think that's kind of one of the things for me, as I touched on this a little bit, is like I feel like, and then far be it from me as not. And look, the fucking bridge is going down right now. The bridge is going down in the background.
Get in the fucking car.
Get in
and
the
go.
car. There's a lot of space in this city. They've got a 5-minute head start on you, and there's 5 of you. You could all steal 4 different cars, and fucking Italian job it.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think that's kind of one of my issues with like this sort of movie is like sometimes the thing happens where it's like, you know, oh, here's our plot point. The son gets kidnapped, and they're like, we tried the one thing.
Yeah.
And he got away.
Well, then it introduces the story mechanic or whatever, the thing where he's leaving them breadcrumbs.
Yeah.
And that's so unnecessary. Like, why did so the kid is kidnapped and he's making little models of certain ruins because that's where they're hopping around for whatever reason. It's not well explained why they're needing to hop around.
Yeah.
You know, maybe if they were just
are they picking up pieces, or are they just going from place to place?
I think they're just going from place to place, stopping.
They don't pick stuff up.
No. So it's unneeded. It's bizarre. You know, like with the first little clue he gives, that's all we needed to get to the end destination, I think. Like that fluff in the middle was completely unnecessary.
Yeah. Well, especially because they don't pick anything up. I'm like literally just thinking about that now.
Yeah.
It's like they just like, all right, this is the next spot we camp, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. But what I was saying earlier is like I don't feel like Evelyn gives a shit enough about her kid for them to or I don't see it, you know? It's very much like Evelyn
their relationship
and Rick.
isn't established. Like
It almost,
there's a little bit with Rick, but they're doing the family trip at the dig site.
Yeah.
And then they get jumped. And through that whole time you don't really see them together besides a brief moment with Rick. And then jump to the mansion scene. And
it definitely feels like
there's no moment. There's a little bit.
It feels like it's their Jonathan's kid. It doesn't feel like it's their kid.
Yeah.
Like it feels like it's a kid that they're watching that they're responsible for, that they feel familial feelings for, but it doesn't feel like it's their kid that they've taken on these adventures.
Yeah.
He doesn't have, I don't know. I just wish that he was with them more, I guess, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And I just don't feel that connection. And
I think the kid does a good job.
If I was Evelyn, or if I was Rick, and I was like, oh my God, my kid got kidnapped, I'm not gonna be like, we're gonna get him back. And we're like, what are we doing actively right now to get my fucking kid back?
We're going to Magic Carpet Ride.
Yeah. You know, and then we go back, we do the train thing, because we did the train thing in the first movie, and we gotta kind of like pay homage to the first movie. That's our movie. But you know,
it feels like this is them wanting to do it right, I guess.
Yeah.
Like they have more money now, and they're like, because it's the same story, and so maybe that's not what they're trying to do, but it feels maybe that's why they're telling the same story.
Yeah.
I guess it's like, well, fuck it, let's just do it a different way. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm bored about this. I'm bored over this movie.
Oh man. All right. Well, as we're sort of winding down with The Mummy Returns, maybe. The Rock CGI. Why did they do that?
I don't know. I think it's just the time.
Was it the time though? I feel like they did better stuff. And also,
I think there's
why not? Why have it be a big monster scorpion? Why not just have it be The Rock? You know, and have him be like, why not just have it be The Rock?
Yeah.
You know, because it's like, I see Imhotep, and it's like, with all his, you know, like his hand-to-hand fighting skills are good.
They also could have done because they kind of did a walkout with him coming through the door.
Mm-hmm.
They could have done like a walkout where it was The Rock backlit coming through a door.
Yeah.
And like having a meta reveal because of the WWE.
Yeah. But they could have done something cool, whereas they had this monstrosity.
Bad marshmallow looking CGI. And I mean, if you've seen the Corridor Crew stuff on it,
Did they redo it? Is that the one that
Yeah,
redid
they
it? I
redo
watched
it.
the one that redid it, and I was like,
one of the biggest things they talk about is the way the upper lip moves is one of the biggest giveaways that you like don't know. Like it's subconscious, but it's huge to notice it.
yeah.
But I think a lot of it is the lighting's off. It's also very bright. They're already in a dark room, but he's bright.
Well, they do that weird thing where he opens up the chamber or whatever, and it like is like, all right, we're gonna go from blue to gold light.
Oh.
It's a weird thing when we get towards the end of the movie where they do that thing where it's like, oh, we're transitioning to a new world, and it would be cool if it was like, all right, we're taking you back to 3000 BC.
Yeah, I think they should have just straight up done some like portal like alternate tears and stuff.
Yeah,
because
then it would be cool because then you can kind of play with the idea that maybe the Scorpion King has been in stasis waiting to fight his challenger.
Yeah, like
and
maybe
the only way that he can get free is if he's fighting his challenger.
Yeah, like he's a champion of Anubis being held in reserve to for when he needs them, you know. And I think another thing that was weird was the army of Anubis, how they were kind of mummies in the modern day. It's like, why are they if they're just like servants living in hell?
Yeah.
Why did they age and become covered in papyrus paper or whatever?
The plan for me, that's another thing I have in my like weird stuff, is like the plan for me is a wonky plan just in general. Like, what is the priest getting out of it? What is the priest, like the main priest guy?
Yeah,
the red headdress priest guy who's the head of the.
Because he's like, is he in power or is the girl?
Is he looking for power or is he just loves Emotep?
Yeah, his goals aren't well defined.
And Emotep wants to take over the world. I feel like we just a lot of times, you know,
But also he looks so happy and in love with her, and I'm like,
just chill.
Yeah,
you're back.
You know, rebuild a little pocket of Egypt. Do something cool like that.
Yeah.
Why do you have to fucking just go for absolute power? Like, that wasn't a goal of yours as a living man, even.
Yeah, you loved this lady.
You just loved the lady, and you were a priest. So, like, where does it, like, yeah, maybe, like, fuck the world, I hate the world, I curse you, but why does that become a lust of power?
But that's...
Because in the first one, he wants to destroy the world, that's fine. In this one, he's back now. He's got a second chance, and he's got his lady.
Yeah.
Just, like, go get
that was his whole goal.
Go get a bungalow in southern Greece or something, dude.
Or you know what? You're a magic dude.
Rebuild Egypt.
Rebuild your own thing of Egypt and live forever. Is that what you want? And then you know what? Reassess in 5 years.
Yeah.
Reassess in 5 years. You know where this stuff is.
Build long-term and short-term goals. Make a goal sheet of 1 year out. It's 5 years out and 10 years out.
Here's the thing, too, is like, you know what? If instead of, like, is there a time limit? Are you going to expire as a mummy? Because what you could do is, you know what? There's a lot of like little relics and stuff here. Your own tomb had a lot of gold that got destroyed or wherever they defeated him at.
Get your shit back. At least make it personal.
Get your shit back. Maybe get some of those magic relics and build up your strength, and then go get the Scorpion King if that's what you really want.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if it is, bud.
I just don't know why it has to be world-ending every time.
And also,
why does this movie need to have world-ending stakes? The first one makes sense because of just the Egyptian apocalypse kind of prophecy thing. But why does this it doesn't, I don't know. This isn't a Marvel movie, and even it gets tired in those movies. Like, you don't always have to have world-ending stakes.
I think that's one of the things that's the most interesting still about Thanos is where his goal wasn't complete power, it was balance, you know?
Yeah.
Whereas, like, you know, Ultron wanted to wipe out the human race. Emotep wanted to get the army of Anubis and run over the world or whatever. And it's like, you're here. You're here with us.
Yeah.
I don't know. It makes sense, but for like a lot of stuff, it's just like, no, you're here with us, bro.
You know what would have been an interesting alternate story? Sorry, I mean to interrupt.
Do it, dude. I love it.
Where I'm going to presume Thanos, while he did the snap, he had the power to make sure that he was fine.
Mm-hmm.
What if
he was part. Like
he didn't, and like he disappeared.
And he was like, "I'm part of this."
Like just that dilemma. Because like, what if there was no one to go after? Would that change the anger and the motives?
Oh man, that's so fucking. That would be so hard.
I don't know. Just a thought that popped into my head.
Well, because the thing is I mean, even if that happens at the end of Infinity War, they're still playing. They could still play with 2014 Thanos because he still did it.
Yeah, I mean, their motives to fix it aren't steeped in revenge of hating the man.
Yeah.
Or the creature or whatever. The being.
Being.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just think is like, I think because they're so nebulous in the first movie, it feels a little bit better because we also assume that it's world ending because that's what the Magi tell us, and then his goals feel like more. Well, I'm gonna get my lady back.
It's fuck the world. Like, I get it.
Yeah,
100%.
Well, he's fucked the world and fuck the people who are stopping me from getting my lady back. This is my first thing.
Yeah. And like the people like the Benny or whatever, like that completely makes like the hand, the help.
Yeah,
he's completely made like given context and all that. Here you have the girl henchman obviously makes sense because that's his love reincarnate.
Yeah,
but the red priest dudes, it might be explained in the storyline. I don't know, but
well, and that was one of the things that I was like, this lady friend, the lady, she. Why does she care? She just looks like her.
I feel like she might be having the flashbacks that Evie's been having.
Okay.
It's not established, I think. That's my explanation.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I don't know.
Okay.
What do you got anything else?
I mean, I guess I was just how is Imhotep going to beat the Scorpion King without his powers?
Yeah, and the whole spear thing, he didn't even know about that.
Yeah, why didn't he know about that?
Also, the double interception, it's just like dumb.
That was like, I was just like baffled. I don't know, man. That's what I'm saying is like for a guy who is like the mummy and like he's got all this Egyptian knowledge, and even like Evie where she's got all this Egyptian knowledge, maybe it's stuff that's been locked away. That's why it would make sense for me if he like, hey, I'm gonna take a couple years. I got my lady back. Yes, I'll grant you power. We're gonna look for wealth, and we're gonna grow my power, my magic power, and I'm gonna get some like true disciples, so that maybe I'm not the only one who's going against him.
Yeah, maybe there's a credit scene in the first movie to let us know that he came back and
give us a mid-credit scene because you know you're gonna get a sequel, bud.
Yeah.
But I mean that's pretty much it for me. I could pull up some.
See what people have to say while you're digging something up. I'll say that my review, I gave it 3.5, but I think I'm gonna bump that down to a 3. Three scarabs out of 3 monkey mummies that shoot little darts for some reason.
Yeah.
Out of 5, because it does have that. It is a cool movie. I do appreciate it. The nostalgia, besides not holding up, or in spite of not holding up, I still appreciate it.
Yeah, I get that. I think I'll give it 2 stars out of 5. Two little ceramic jugs out of 5 because I don't want him to get all the way back to full health.
Yeah,
because he needs 3, so I'll give him just the 2.
Okay.
Because it's like, you didn't really do him enough to get back to full health. Imhotep. Here's a 2-star review. Keeps the same level as the first movie. A new, poorly written story from a blockbuster that is a money machine, but it still entertains.
Yeah, kind of what we've been saying.
Yeah. Here's a 3-star review. Pass the time. Nostalgia. Same rating to the first one.
They're not the same.
They are not the same. Here's a 4-star review. Absolutely iconic. It's a great movie. It is comedic, action-packed, and there is a love story. What more could you want? However, it just can't top the original, in my opinion.
Okay.
Yeah, okay, all right. I mean, I agree with most of that. Those things are there. I could want more. I do want more, but...
And there's a love story. Like, that's a redeeming thing in movies.
I mean, I feel like there was a love story in the first one.
Yeah.
We're not missing out on that.
There's a better love story in the first one.
It makes more sense. The characters are more defined, and it doesn't really grow from here. Here's a 4-star review. Another fun ride with the O'Connells. Some classic overreaching to catch the same thrills as the original, but still a good time. Yeah,
Well,
I mean,
yeah.
I'm
a little deflated from this one. I won't lie.
he's ready. He's like, I fucking hate this.
I know.
I don't
it's
want
just
to
kind of like a genuine like childhood ruined kind of thing.
Yeah, like Flubber.
No,
Not quite as bad.
no, because I didn't like Flubber as a kid.
Well, I was talking about for me.
Oh, for you?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe something like that. Yeah.
But we are allowed to.
It's not a. They made Luke Skywalker stupid. They ruined my childhood. It's not that kind. It's just kind of it wasn't as good as I. It doesn't hold up, and I liked it. I loved it as a kid. It was perfect for me as a kid. Hit all the right beats. Just fun.
See right there, we're watching again the scene that I was referencing earlier, where they're shooting at the kid.
And he kills them. And he's like,
and he kills them, and he's
city.
like, "Hey, look, it's this fucking city." And then they just let the kid run away. And I'm watching the scene. There's gonna be a pause in these reviews as I'm looking to see if they're. They need to go to these places so that then he unlocks the next piece of the map, I guess. Right?
I don't know what it's
Because they don't get anything. They don't get anything here. They're just like,
this guy's a little Slytherin tie.
yeah. Here's a 2.5-star review. A modern-day, family-friendly mummy adventure movie. It is too cartoon-like to be scary and too childlike to be taken seriously.
Wow.
It relies too much on the CGI and effects, but not enough on the dialogue and the acting skills to be anything but a Saturday afternoon family matinee that is forgotten until the next weekend when you watch it again, because you got to watch it every Saturday.
Yeah. This movie was scary. Don't tell let's see, 9-year-old John that.
Yeah. Here's one. Here's a 3.5-star review. Thought it's larger than the original, which may provide larger fails than wins. It's consistent with the adventurous tone of the original. Which is like,
Maybe it's consistent with that tone, and it's not consistent with a lot of other tones.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
It's consistent with the tone because it's just like, this is the tone.
It's the same movie.
It is the same movie, but with different
You got one more?
pieces. Yeah, I'll get one more. Here's a 2-star review. The Mummy Returns does not live up to the first movie and is an overall pretty bad movie that is cringy to watch and uses dumb ways to escape trouble and uses spells and curses to escape death.
I won't say I cringed at this movie.
I don't think I cringed, but only because it was just kind of like, yeah, okay, that's happening.
Yeah, it's like a whatever. It's not a cringe.
Yeah, it's not a cringe. I think that they would have had to try for it to be cringe.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah, I don't think it's a cringe.
Yeah, that was The Mummy Returns.
That was The
a
Mummy
2-star from you.
Returns. Yeah, 2-star.
And a 3-star from me for all the reasons that you heard while watching.
I feel
listening.
like it was I think you gave it an extra star for nostalgia.
Yeah,
also, you're just
100%.
I'd say you're generally nicer with the reviews than I am.
Probably.
I would say. What have you been watching, if anything?
Nothing. I watch these things because we're recording this actually a couple days after, but it's coming out. Blah blah blah. I don't have anything actually.
I started rewatching Hot Fuzz just because I was like, I love that movie.
I watched the Cornetto. Is that the trilogy?
Yeah,
Cornetto
that's the
Trilogy?
second one in the Cornetto Trilogy.
For the first time, maybe
For
2
the
years.
first time?
2 years ago.
Oh.
And I'm already itching to rewatch them all again.
Hot Fuzz is the most easily accessible for some reason, and I
Yeah.
also think it's the best. Like Shaun of the Dead is great,
Mm-hmm.
and The End of the World caps off the feeling of them and like appropriately grows up. I feel like,
Yeah.
but Hot Fuzz is like, I fucking love Hot Fuzz.
Yeah. I enjoyed that movie because that'd be a fun one to cover.
Yeah.
Honestly, we should just do the Cornetto trilogy.
Fuck yeah,
I
dude.
was gonna say more, but I was like, no, I want to save it.
Yeah, save it. But yeah, I started watching that. Yeah. But I think hit us on Twitter or at Stinky Podcast. Hit us in the YouTube comments.
Next week's episode, unless we adjust for new releases, because there might be a new release coming out.
Is there?
I forgot
We'll
what
talk
it was.
about it.
But we are recording a Who Framed Roger Rabbit episode, which was recommended via email by Christine
from Nopeville.
Yep. So
thank you very much.
Look forward to that. If not next week, then.
Or we'll flip it and reverse it.
Yeah.
We'll do a frame
but we are recording it, so we got that coming up. So we are listening to
So
those emails.
wherever it ends up,
yeah.
At some point, you've either already listened to it or it'll come out in the future.
The future might be now if you're.
Time keeps on slipping.
Into the future.
Into the future.
All right.
But hit us up on Twitter and be like, hey, Patrick, you're too harsh in these reviews. Calm down, bud. Watch a good movie, you guy.
Chill your boner, dude.
Chill your boner or get it better. Get your boner better. Whatever it is. Whatever's wrong with your boner, make it work. Talking about boners too much now.
All right. What as they say in London?
As they say in London, Egypt, I was related to a pharaoh.